Hi there! It's time for chapters 16, 17, 18 of The Ice Monster by David Walliams. Chapter 16, Cheeks Ablaze. I am not sliding down the banister, protested Dotty. But it's the fastest way down, replied Elsie. Dotty was right to be reluctant. It was an awfully long way from the topmost floor of the museum to the bottommost. In the time we've been arguing, we could already be at the bottom, reasoned Elsie. The girl clambered onto the banister. Dotty sighed, then hitched up her skirt and joined her. This is a very extremely bad idea, said the lady. It was too late. Whoosh! Ouch! My bottom cheeks are ablaze! Complained Dotty. Hold on! Called out Elsie. Soon they ran out of banister. The girl landed on the floor. Thud. Dotty landed on top of her. Thudder. Mesmerised, Elsie approached the ice monster. All that was separating the girl from a species that had become extinct thousands of years ago were a few inches of glass and ice. Funny looking thing, muttered Dotty. I think it's beautiful, whispered the girl. It's like the biggest cuddly toy in the whole wide world. Dotty chuckled. I'm not sure it would be all that cuddly if it was alive. Now, come on, we need to get out of here before Mr. Clout comes back. The girl stood still. Elsie? Elsie? The lady tugged at the little girl's arm. We need to go. I don't want to leave it alone here, replied Elsie. You what? Dotty couldn't believe what she was hearing. It looks sad. You'd be sad if you'd been dead for 10,000 years. Let me climb on your shoulders. You what? I need to take a closer look. Young lady, we need to get out of here now, before the Queen Her Majesty comes back. Quicker than a peek, implored Elsie. A peek-a-boo, I promise. No. Now, come on. With that, Dotty tried to drag the girl out of the hall. However, Elsie was far too quick for her. Before Dotty knew it, Elsie had climbed up her back. What there? Hold on to my ankles, she ordered. Elsie stood on the lady's shoulders as a reluctant Dotty dutifully held on to her. The girl was now at head height with the mammoth. She pressed her nose up against the cold glass and stared deep into one of its little black eyes. What are you doing up there? Called Dotty. The truth was, Elsie didn't exactly know what she was doing up there. All she did know was that she was transfixed. She didn't move. It was as if she were frozen solid too. We need to go, implored Dotty. Still Elsie stared. Then the most magical thing happened. It was a moment that changed everything. A bead of water formed in the creature's eye. It's crying, called down Elsie. Oh my! You're imagining things, young lady. That mammoth hasn't cried since long before even I was born. Now come down. Not yet. What do you mean, not yet? Not yet means not yet. Down the corridor there was the sound of boot steps. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. Clout was on to them. We need to go now, cried Dotty. With the girl still standing on her shoulders, she began running as fast as she could. Whoa! Exclaimed Elsie as she tried to stop wobbling. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. Who goes there? Clout's shout echoed along the corridor. Elsie toppled over and slid down Dotty's back. Now she was riding her like a horse. Giddy up, ordered the girl, as together they made their escape. Chapter 17. Curious Creatures. In her many years of working there, Dotty had cleaned every inch of the Natural History Museum. She knew all the best hiding places. "Down here," hissed the lady as she led Elsie down some stone steps. Ahead of them stood a huge metal door with a sign that read, "Do not enter." Dotty fished in her pocket and pulled out a jangling bunch of keys. "Oh, it's one of these," she muttered to herself. "But which one?" pressed Elsie. "I know it's a metal one." "Oh, they're all metal. They're keys. Give them here." Elsie snatched the keys off Dotty and after a few attempts found the right one. She unlocked the door and ushered Dotty inside. Then, as quietly as she could, the girl closed the door behind them and locked it. Clunk. Listening through the thick metal, the pair heard the sound of bootsteps descending the stairs. Click-clack, click-clack, click-clack. The door handle was turned. Rattle, rattle. The pair held their breath. There followed the sound of bootsteps ascending the stairs. Click-clack, 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 click-clack. The pair exhaled. "Thank goodness Clout doesn't have his keys," whispered Elsie. "No," replied Dotty. "They're right here," she added, holding up the set in her hand. "I lost mine, so I borrowed his." "Oh, clever, Dotty. I'm not just a pretty face," said the cleaning lady. Elsie smiled. There was no answer to that. "So, where are we?" "The Natural History Museum in London." "Yes, I know that, Dotty. I mean, where in the National History Museum in London?" "Oh, we're in the storeroom. Now stay close to me." If upstairs was full of wonders, downstairs was even more so. The storeroom was full of things that were too weird to be put on show. The pair passed a number of curious creatures pickled in tanks. There was a shark with 2 heads, a giant tortoise the size of a baby elephant, and a snake as long as a cricket pitch. Overlooking them were stuffed conjoined twin owls, a mighty lump of red rock that looked like it had fallen to earth from another planet, and an egg so big it must have belonged to a megalosaurus. A prehistoric human skull squatted on a plinth. It was a bizarre-looking, half-human and half-ape. "What's this?" asked the girl. Dotty ambled over. "Dunno. I wouldn't touch it if I were you. It looks spooky." If you think that skull looks spooky, you've never met Mrs. Curdle. "Who?" "She ran the orphanage I escaped from, and she's got warts bigger than this." Elsie rested her hand on top of the skull, and it wobbled slightly. Intrigued, the girl rotated the top piece of the skull back from the jaw. Suddenly the pair realised they were spinning round. Whiz! Elsie, touching the skull, had opened a secret door. Now they were plunged into total darkness. "Ah!" they screamed. Chapter 18. Darkest Dark. "Something's grabbing hold of me!" yelled Dotty. "Something's grabbing hold of me!" yelled Elsie. "Help!" they screamed. "I think we might be grabbing hold of each other," said the girl. "Oh, yes. Shall we let go?" "Yes." They did so. "Oh, that's better," said Dotty. "Where are we?" asked Elsie. "We're still in the Natural History Museum in London." "Yes, I know that." "All right." "I mean, where in the museum are we?" "Dunno," answered Dotty. "I've been cleaning this place for donkey's years, and I ain't never been in here. It must be a secret room." A secret room? Core blimey! Elsie couldn't hide her excitement. Let's explore. You go first, said Dotty. I'll be right behind you in case of an attack from the rear. Knowing the old dear was frightened, Elsie said, Hold my hand. Together they made their way across the dark room towards a faint flicker of light. On closer inspection, it turned out to be a dusty old bottle, thick with cobwebs. The girl blew on the bottle to reveal its contents. A light was dancing under the glass. It was as if a ghost were trapped in there. It's alive, said Elsie. How can a bottle be alive? Dunno, but look, something's inside. Dotty peered in. Very queer. Whatever you do, don't touch it. Like most children, Elsie had selective hearing and on this occasion chose not to listen. She reached out her hand to touch the bottle. Ouch! She yelled, recoiling in pain. What did I tell you? It's hot. The girl pulled down the sleeve of her coat to save her fingers from being burned. I wonder what's inside, she pondered. Whatever you do, repeated Dotty, don't open it. Again the child chose not to listen, and slowly she began easing the cork out of the bottle. I said don't, repeated Dotty. Pop! A bolt of light shot out, illuminating the room for a split second in brilliant bright white. Zang! Elsie! Shouted Dotty. It was too late. The fizzing beam hit Elsie and her whole body lit up. Jolts of light buzzed all over her. Ah! She screamed. Her hair stood on end and smoke billowed from her ears. Was she going to explode? Then, as quickly as the light had appeared, it disappeared. Elsie slumped to the floor like a sack of potatoes. Thud. Splosh! The next thing Elsie knew was that she was wet, soaking wet. Her eyes opened to see Dotty standing over her, holding a bucket. Splosh! Another wave of freezing cold water drenched her. Splosh! And another. Next, the lady began slapping the girl around the face. Slap, 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 slap. Wake up, Elsie! Wake up, please! Don't die on me! All right, I am awake, she called up. Dotty began shaking the girl just to make sure. Stop shaking me! Sorry, said Dotty. What on earth was in that bottle? My reading ain't so good. The lady read aloud what was scrawled on the label. Lightning. Lightning in a bottle? Well, that's what it says. How can you catch lightning in a bottle? That's impossible. Nothing is impossible, child, came a voice from the shadows. And next time we'll read chapter 19 and onwards. Bye-bye.